Who would have thought that animals familiar to everyone could grow to gigantic sizes? A rabbit that weighs as much as a human being, or an overgrown bat. With you is TopFacts Black, and these are the biggest creatures ever caught on camera. I wish you pleasant viewing, and of course, let us go. Caucasian Shepherd dogs are a breed quite unusual both in appearance and in character. Some people are delighted by these shaggy giants, others are frightened by their impressive dimensions and formidable look, but no one remains indifferent to these Caucasians. In fact, like any dogs, especially those of a service breed, they require daily care and tireless training. Personally, I do not entirely understand how such a gigantic dog can even obey an ordinary, pitiful human being. Have you ever seen a moose taking a stroll along the road? I think probably not. However, on a road in the United States of America, this really did happen. People noticed a moose over 1 meter tall, comparable to a small dinosaur, walking along the highway not knowing what to do. Apparently the giant got lost, and the cars only confused it even more. But do not worry. In the end, people helped the animal, and it returned to its native environment. Do you think danger exists only on land? Ha 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 ha, how naive. The people in this video were sailing along a river when they happened to notice something strange up ahead. It looked like a branch, but with a surprise. As it later turned out, it was good they decided not to sail underneath it, because it was a real anaconda, lying in wait for an opportunity to drop down on them. The consequences of such a meeting could have been quite sad. And here is a giant bat that lives only in the Philippines. I wonder if Batman had such bats as his assistants, would anyone be able to stand against him? But seriously, the bats there really are enormous. I never expected anything like that. Turtles can also amaze us. The smallest ones usually do not exceed the size of a plate, while others can be quite large. What do you think of this big one? This creature must be a typical dog or something like that, right? But absolutely not. Despite its gigantic size, what we see here is actually a real rat from the genus of giant rats. I am not sure whether they came into being naturally, but I have a hunch that scientists might have had a hand in it. And here is the giant Aschatina snail, the largest terrestrial mollusk on Earth. The size of such a creature can reach up to 30 centimeters. On the African continent, as well as in the forests of Southeast Asia, where these African snails now live since they were introduced there, they reside on tree trunks. Young members of this species are harmless and very useful as they feed on rotting parts of plants. Adult Achatinas, on the other hand, harm most cultivated plants, especially bananas and citrus fruits. Meet our next real heavyweight, a bear named Brody. He is a male Kodiak bear, born in 1995, and at 8 weeks old he already weighed about 5 kilograms. Imagining what he weighs now, or at least in this video, is pretty frightening. I wonder who would win in a fight, that huge bear or this Titan pig. By the way, she took the prize for the largest pig in Indiana. At the time of the competition, the pig weighed about 600 kilograms. How much feed do you think her owner spends on her each day? And this is a liger, a hybrid of a tiger and a lion. Its height is 3 meters and it has a rather impressive weight of several hundred kilograms. It is a very rare animal because it is only born when its parents belong to the same biological genus, Panthera, but different species. The only comforting thought is that with the liger, we do not need to argue about who is cooler or stronger, the lion or the tiger. The liger would win, as it is considered the largest cat in the world. Something tells me that this creature is the scariest and most incomprehensible being in the world, definitely deserving the title of a living horror. Number 1. Elephant seals also do not plan on giving up their title as some of the biggest and at the same time most fearsome creatures. They are terrifying, mind you, precisely because of their size. They can grow up to 6 meters and weigh up to 5 tons. Just look at this scene with 2 elephant seals lounging on a boat. It looks like adults riding a child's bicycle. Goats are usually miniature and neat creatures. Usually, yes, but definitely not this one. It reached 1 5/10 meters in height and weighed more than 300 kilograms. Surprisingly, in this footage, it is only 4 years old. It is scary to imagine what could become of it as time goes on. Did someone order the biggest rabbit in the world? Well, here it comes on its own. Darius the rabbit measures 130 centimeters long, and at one point his body weight was 22 5/10 kilograms. He has a son named Jeff, who also impresses everyone with his size. Taking care of these giants costs their owner, Annette Edwards, 5,000 pounds sterling every year. Moreover, the woman has to cope with a lot of stress. Darius the rabbit is listed in the Guinness Book of World Records as the largest in the world, so he is a celebrity. In 2021, unknown individuals stole him right from his enclosure in Worcestershire. The owner offered a reward to anyone who would return her pet, but apparently no one wanted to do the good deed. Agile, sneaky, beautiful, watchful, and self-confident. Those are the words that describe the river otter you are now seeing. Take a look at how easily and casually it relaxes on the same beach as crocodiles. How did that even occur to it? A handsome Maine Coon named Samson is widely known on the internet. He and his owner, Jonathan Zarbel, live in Brooklyn. Samson is the largest cat in New York, and possibly at this time in the whole world. At 5 years old, he weighs 13 kilograms, and his length from nose to tail is 1 meter and 22 centimeters, which is only 9 millimeters less than the world record listed in the Guinness Book of Records. If you think that there was nothing this gigantic cat or that large otter could do, as if they are both too independent somehow, then you simply have not yet seen this boar. Now I understand why big guys are compared to boars. They really do seem like they are from another planet. This giant fish was filmed off the coast of the Kuril Islands in Russia. Weighing 1.2 tons, the rare sunfish, also known as the Opa mola mola or Jerusalem haddock, is one of the largest fish on the planet. It is so huge that one could prepare more than 1,000 servings of different dishes from it. The Russian fisherman who caught this giant had no idea what to do with such a strange and mysterious specimen, and unfortunately, the fish ended up as food for a brown bear. Yes, it was fed to a family of bears after it started to rot. Local scientists were outraged by the senseless killing of a representative of this unique species, arguing that it would have been better to donate it to a museum. In reality, this fish was not even that large. An even bigger specimen was caught in 1908 off the coast of Japan, weighing 2.2 tons and measuring an astonishing 2 5/10 meters in length. Have you ever heard of the fish owl before? Most likely not. This rare bird feeds on freshly caught salmon, and sometimes it loves to feast on frogs. You can find it only in the Far East, in the forests of Russia bordering the Sea of Japan. This bird, a fan of sushi, can weigh up to 5 kilograms and reach 1 meter in length. These owls are so huge that people often mistake them for a small bear or even for a person. These feathered creatures spend far less time in the tops of trees than other owls, and they are often seen strolling across the forest floor. I would love to watch one of these amusing birds. That horrifying alien-looking blob on your screen is not from a distant planet. It lives on Earth. We are talking about the repulsive bootlace worm. A species of ribbon worm that is less than 3 centimeters wide can reach a staggering 54 meters in length. Yes, this horrifying being can stretch all the way to the top of the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Thank goodness it is only a worm and not dangerous. Or is it? The bootlace worm is extremely toxic. It produces mucus containing a strong neurotoxin that smells like sewage and metal. It also has sticky threads at the tip of its nose, which it uses to paralyze its prey before devouring it whole. This strange creature spends most of its life tangled up in one gigantic knot. Interestingly enough, they can absorb nutrients directly through their skin. What else can the bootlace worm surprise us with? I find it hard to believe such a thing even exists. Look at the claws of this giant crustacean. The Japanese spider crab can stretch to a ridiculous 4 meters from the tip of one claw to the tip of the other, which gives it the longest leg span in the entire arthropod family. I'm glad that no spider with legs that long actually exists. This impressive marine creature can weigh 14 kilograms, and no wonder it is considered a tasty delicacy in Japan. Fishermen are even forbidden from catching them during the mating season to keep them from disappearing. Catching such a giant can earn $500 at the fish market, so it is no surprise that many people want to catch one. Fortunately, spider crabs know how to hide. They camouflage themselves in the sand of the ocean floor. Apparently, they fear us more than we fear them. Even though these crustaceans look creepy, they still want to avoid ending up on someone's plate. He is not called Big Jake for nothing. This incredibly huge horse would make any pony next to him look like a small puppy. A titan among horses, he weighs a staggering 1,200 kilograms and eats one full bucket of grain plus one entire bale of hay every single day. He set the record for being the tallest horse in the world back in 2010, nearly 2 meters in height. And yet, if horses could play sports, Big Jake might have had a career in basketball. His owner, Jerry Gilbert, adopted Big Jake when he was a little foal, weighing only 108 kilograms. Who would have known he would grow to become one of the most famous horses of all time? Big Jake lives a quiet life away from show business now at Smoky Hollow Farm in Wisconsin, in the United States of America, and they treat him like a member of the family. By horse standards, Big Jake is quite happy. He lives a good life. This creepy insect is one of the rarest creatures in the world, discovered in the 1990s. Scientists had no idea such a huge insect existed until they found it crawling deep in the jungles of Borneo. Chan's megastick is nearly impossible to track down, despite its colossal length of 56 centimeters. That is because they live high in the tree canopies, completely out of sight, and they blend perfectly into their woody surroundings. Let us be honest, finding a stick insect among all those real sticks is incredibly difficult, so nobody can locate these masters of camouflage. Very little is known about Chan's megastick, another mysterious giant creature of our planet. The African elephant is the largest land mammal on our planet. It is much bigger than the Asian elephant and can reach 4 5/10 to 5 meters in height, with a mass of roughly 7 to 7 5/10 tons. But there are true giants as well. The largest African elephant ever discovered weighed 12 tons, and its body length was about 7 meters. After several hours of determined fishing, this man finally experienced the feeling he had been chasing. Luck smiled upon him in the form of a giant catfish weighing around 130 kilograms. What would you have done with the catch if you were in his place? Released it back into the water or taken it home as a trophy? This horned cattle became a true celebrity among farmers in Alabama. Its horns surpassed 3 meters in length, which is simply mind-boggling. How does the poor thing even manage with them? That must be very inconvenient, right? Birds. Well, they cannot be giant, can they? Yes, indeed they can. Would you like to encounter a shoebill? The shoebill is a large bird from the stork order, inhabiting the tropical swamps of eastern Africa. An adult stands about 1 2/10 meters tall, with a wingspan of up to 2 3/10 meters. Giant squids almost always swim at great depths, which is why the divers in this story were incredibly lucky to meet one face to face. Usually such creatures are afraid of humans, but for some reason, this one felt safe. Swans, as it turns out, can be not only gorgeous, but also aggressive. This white beauty decided to show everyone who was boss, furrowed its brow, and headed toward a dog. Man's best friend did not hold back its aggression in return and struck back. Fortunately, no real fight followed, but it all looked very tense. As for this photograph, I have to say I am somewhat skeptical, though it looks very realistic. What do you think? Did these hunters actually catch such a mutant, or is it just typical Photoshop? Leave your thoughts in the comments and let us move on. Now, meet Knickers, the giant steer that is too large to be slaughtered. Knickers, standing 194 centimeters tall and weighing 1,400 kilograms, of the Holstein Friesian breed, sparked debate on the internet after a photograph showed him towering above a herd of cows on an Australian farm. He looked so huge compared to the other cattle that many asked whether he was a real steer or merely the product of Photoshop. But of course, size is not always a measure of strength. We all know that the most powerful animal is the lion. Here is this king of the beasts, roaming the streets of Australia and frightening everyone in his path because he stood more than 3.5 meters tall. So friends, those were the biggest creatures caught on camera. If you enjoyed this episode and want to see something similar, then write a comment, give a like, subscribe to the TopFacts channel, and right now, take a look at one of the previous episodes that have appeared on your screen.